Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town, of New York town.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another Mets Postgame Show right here on the channel. How is everybody doing today? Unfortunately, this is the game that you got to brush off your shoulders, forget about, and come out tomorrow and win the series. The Mets lose 8-1 to the Chicago Cubs in Game 2 of the series. Not a very, very good game at all. It started off absolutely horribly with Tyler McGill giving up 5 runs in the first inning. And it kind of felt like a game after that first inning where it didn't feel like, now, you always got that in your head that the Mets have been pretty good coming back in ball games, chipping away, but it just never felt that way today. And again, this is one game that you lost. That's fine. The goal is to win the series. You go out tomorrow with Luis Severino. This is the reason why the Mets pushed back Luis Severino. Instead of facing the Yankees, he would face the Cubs on Sunday, because these games matter, right? We end up being 3 games back under 500, but you go out tomorrow, you win the series, you get a 4-2 road trip, you come back home on the day off and get ready for the Yankees. It's one game. That's all it is. It's one game, and that's all you have to worry about, and that's what they're going to worry about, because these games happen, right? Your pitcher gave you absolutely no chance to win this ball game, and you're already behind in the first inning by 5 runs. So it's unfortunate, but it's one game. You come out tomorrow and take care of business. And that's what they got to do, right? You can't make this game affect tomorrow's game, which yesterday didn't affect the Cubs at all, right? They came out guns blazing. So that's what the New York Mets have to do right now, is forget about this game. I mean, you clearly see the top of the ninth. They were just taking pitches right down the middle. Like, they weren't even trying to, put up any good at-bats. Like, all right, this game's over. Let's forget it, throw it in the garbage, and come out tomorrow and kick some ass. And that's what they got to do tomorrow. Nobody really played well today at all, right? Alvarez had a good day, and Martinez had a good day. Other than that, nobody else did, right? Lindor didn't. Couple of strikeouts. Pete Alonso didn't. Nimmo didn't. DJ Stewart and Jeff McNeil are just a waste of time. And Pete Alonso can't throw the ball to a base. I'm sorry. This is not just, oh, that's a bad throw. It's an issue. I'm sorry. I don't trust Pete Alonso. Now, Pete Alonso can get to every ball. He can catch every ball. That's not the issue. Last time I checked, baseball isn't just about catching a ball. It's also about throwing it. This is going to be a problem. And nobody's going to bitch and moan about it until it happens in a big game, when the real big games matter. And it's a game where the Mets could make some moves here and make something interesting in a game, in a big game. Maybe it's a Subway Series. Maybe it's a game against the Braves, or the Diamondbacks, or somebody that's right near us. A Cubs game tomorrow, a close game. Do you trust Pete Alonso to throw the ball to a base, first or second base? Because I sure as hell don't. It's a problem. And I've said it's been a problem. It's not about Pete Alonso catching a ball, right? He got better at first base using the glove. The guy cannot throw to first base. And what I get upset about, Pete Alonso has been a first baseman his entire life, right? His entire career in college and high school, the minors. How do you not work on something that you clearly know that is always an issue? Like, I just never understood that. Like, it's not like they throw, he was an outfielder and they threw him in first base. I get that part. But you've been a first baseman all your life. I'm sorry. I like Mendoza, but you know what? Get Mendoza out there. Get Mendoza out there with Pete Alonso. Go, listen, I want you to get grounders and throw balls to second base, throw balls to first base, flip it to the pitcher. I want a little PFP for the first baseman. That's what I want to see. Absolutely, committee. It is Lucas Duda syndrome. Every time Pete Alonso has to throw the ball, I say it every time in my head, or I say it to the person next to me. Look, Lucas Duda, what do you want, Shay? I know the Mets suck. Shay is meowing. The stomach issues. You okay, Shay? He had to make an appearance. So, yeah. No, Yeet, that was a bad throw. Sorry. That was a bad throw, and I wasn't talking about that one. I was talking about that terrible throw to second base as well that Lindor saved. That could have been a disaster as well. So 2 times in a game, it seems like every game Pete Alonso makes a bad throw, right? It's not about him catching the ball. He's got to make the throw. He can't throw. He can't flip the ball. He can't throw the ball. He never leads the pitcher to first base. He's always throwing it all over the place. They got to do gymnastics to catch the ball. Hauser's fine. All right, he's a bullpen arm, and you're worrying about an ERA that's mostly because of his starting ways. You're worrying about the wrong guys. You want to talk about McNeil and Stewart? We can talk about them all day. Crowley, the Phillies fan. Isn't looking good. I mean, where were you this whole hot streak? It's a game. It's all right. It was a bad game today. That happens. It's baseball. You have a bad game, you come out tomorrow, you play well, right? I didn't say McGill. You said McGill. I didn't say McGill. Who's defending McGill? I didn't say that. Crawley, honestly, they were 11 games under 500 2.5 weeks ago. And they put themselves right back into a wild card, Mitch. And Crawley, you know better than anybody as a Phillies fan, right? You know better than anybody. All you got to do is make the playoffs. The Phillies proved that in 2022, right? And you were on my channel a ton during that year, right? They had one of the worst defensive and the worst bullpens. They figured something else. They made a couple of moves at the deadline to help their bullpen. Their defense got better, and they made a run, right? And they weren't the best team, but they got on a run and they got hot. Probably, I mean, to your lips, to God's ears. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but it is what it is. Look, we're not worried about that yet, right? They put themselves back into the mix when it comes towards the trade deadline, right? The trade deadline is going to dictate if the Mets are going to be buyers or sellers. They have to be within striking distance of a wild card spot or in a wild card spot for the Mets to even think about going for the run late in the second half of the season. That's it. It doesn't take a miracle, guys. We all forget, right? Just because it's the Mets, people don't think that can happen. Yet we saw a miracle happen in 2015 when this team was down in the dumps. a 2019 national team that was 3 games under 500 around the same time in June that the Mets were 3 games under 500 and they won the World Series. Not saying that the Mets are going to do that. I'm not saying that. But making the playoffs is not as hard as it used to be. That's it. It's what it is. Yes, it is. Alonso never makes good throws. I'm sorry. You can defend Pete Alonso all you want. I'm not. Right? I'm not one of those ass kissers of Pete Alonso. I'm not. And you're not going to find this channel being an ass kisser. Sorry, I'm not. Right? We're making Pete Alonso a hell of a lot better defender than he is, and he's not. Sorry. He can't throw the ball to a base. He can't flip the ball to first base, leading the pitcher to first base. It's first base 101. It's not that hard. Now, every now and then you get turned around, you got to throw the ball to second. You make a bad throw every now and then. It's every time. And if he doesn't, he lobs the ball over there and it breaks up a double play because you can't get the guy out at first because he's so concerned and it's in his head. He throws it to second base, so he can't throw it away. So he got to lob the ball slowly to second base to get the lead runner, and then the guy running the first is safe. That's fine, but you also have to make the play. And what was it? A great play. Okay, he's a first baseman. He should make that play. The fact of the matter is, he did not make that play. A great play is when you finish the play, right? I don't see a highlight reel where they make the catch and then they stop it and don't show the throw. It's part of defense is throwing the ball to a bag. Sorry, he's not a good first baseman. He's not. We overblown Pete Alonso because he was talked about. He was a bad first baseman when he came up. He got better. That doesn't make you a good first baseman when you got better from being bad. I'm sorry. It's come on. Like, stop defending. And this is what I'm talking about. But anytime Lindor makes a mistake, it's front page news for every fan. They can't wait. Oh, look at Lindor, right? You know what? Look, Alonso made a good catch is when Lindor made that bullshit throw to first base that bounced in front of Alonso. But guess what? Alonso has no problem catching the ball. It's the throws. Actually, no, McNeil is actually a better. Now, I don't like McNeil at second base that much, but McNeil can play outfield as well. Now, again, I'm not trying to defend McNeil, and you're making me defend McNeil based on Alonso. Alonso's glove has gotten a lot better, but let's not act like he's a good first baseman. He's not. His footwork still sucks. Look at that play when he was trying to throw that ball to second base, right? His left foot, when he made that turn, was pointed to third base. That's not good footwork. That's not good fundamentals. When you're throwing to a bag, your feet's got to be parallel to that bag. I mean, you don't have to be a professional ball player to understand that. And it just shows me that Pete Alonso, I never see him practicing throwing balls to a base. You always see him, when he was at the All-Star game last year on his knees, making quick catches like this back and forth. With Ron Washington last year, right? You see him, making scoops and everything like that, which he had to get better at. But there's another part of the game that is very important. Nimmo's fine. Nimmo's been better in the 2-hole. Nimmo belongs in the 2-hole. You're moving Nimmo down where he's not going to be any good. It's not worth it. He's a better 2-hitter than any other spot in the lineup. Yeah, I agree. Look, McNeil has no confidence. And you see it. He goes up there like, all right, walking back. He don't even get mad anymore. Like that's how you know he's just fed up. Look, McNeil probably needs a change of scenery. To be quite honest with you, I think he just had it. I honestly believe that. I think he's a guy that goes somewhere else and plays decently. I'm not saying he's going to be the batting champion or a 300-plus hitter, but I think he can still be a 270 hitter. He's got to get away from that home run swing. I have no reason why whoever told him that, or he might have did this himself. Like, he just does not swing like he used to. He doesn't have that level swing anymore. Every ball, every hit, every swing is an uppercut. Every ball is up in the freaking air. Like, you are a base hit hitter. You are a singles hitter. Stop being something you're not. We talked about that with Pete Alonso. We talked about that with Lindor. We talked about it with a lot of guys. Stop trying to be something you're not. McNeil is a 300 hitter because he's a slap hitter. He's a guy that just flicks the ball, peppers the ball the other way, gets the base hit. Jeff McNeil's got to get back to that. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know who got in his head, but it's not working. I'm sorry, 2 years in a row now, you have been absolutely dog shit because you're not good enough on the field to be worth playing every single day unless you're batting 300. And I've said this many times, even in the offseason, even after 2022, McNeil isn't very good at anything if he doesn't hit 300 in the lineup. He is a useless player on this roster when he doesn't hit 300 because he does nothing very well. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because they're fed up with him. Well, Elephant, yeah, I agree. But you know what? It's not just McNeil. Let's not just say, oh, McNeil's in the lineup. That's why the Mets lost. Because McNeil has been in the lineup a number of times when the Mets won, right? It's a combination. Listen, you don't lose usually because of one player, right? Unless it is late in the ball game and somebody makes a terrible error or doesn't get that go-ahead run from third base or something like that. But most of the time, it's a team effort when it comes to a loss. Same reason when it's a team effort when you win, right? This was a team effort loss, right? They lost as a team today. Nobody played well, right? Alvarez did well. Martinez did well. That's great and all, but it amounted to nothing. So, again, McGill can't give up 5 runs in the first inning. That kind of takes a lot of wind out of your sails. So, look, it sucks, but it is only one game, guys. Like we talked about this after the Rangers series, right? We lost that last game. All right, sucks. They came out in the first game of Chicago and kicked some ass, right? We all thought that the most important game was the bounce back. They bounced back. Now, today was one of those days, right? You got to brush it off because you can't take today's game into tomorrow because that's not good. You can't do that as a professional ball player. And I don't think they will. Again, guys, they've lost 2 games out of the last, 9? It's still a hot streak. Over the last 2 weeks, what have they lost? 4 or 5 times? Over a 15, 16 game stretch? They're still in a hot streak. They're still in that hot streak moment. They win tomorrow, 4-2 road trip is exactly what you need to do. Right? At worst, they can go 3-3. Right? That's 500. You want to go 500 on the road. Now, because the Mets put themselves behind the 8 ball, 500 isn't great, but you'll take it on the road because you come back home, you're supposed to do better. Now, the Mets have been doing the exact opposite, but hey, we'll talk about that tomorrow in the pre and post when the Mets go out there and kick some ass tomorrow, kick the Cubs' ass, win another series, come on Monday, have the off day, and get ready for the Subway Series. That's what you got to do. And let's hope they do that. Now, I don't see what anybody has any signs of this team falling apart when they lost 2 games in their last 9. They lost 4 games out of the last 15? Like, that's a pretty good record. I'll take that every day of the week. Give me every 2 weeks 11-4. I'll take it. Now, it's probably not possible, but they're still in this hot streak. They win tomorrow. Nobody's going to care about yesterday, right? The Mets blew out them in game 1. The Cubs blew out the Mets in game 2. That's it. The Cubs washed it off. All right, that game sucked. Let's come out tomorrow. If the Cubs can do it, which I don't think the Cubs are very good, right? I truly believe that the Mets are better than the Cubs. Why can't the Mets do it? They already proved it to you guys, right? Yeah. Look, 500 is probably the mark to probably get in a wild card. Because I'm telling you this right now, guys. Like, it took the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Washington Nationals to go on a crazy 2 weeks like the Mets to get back to 500. And they were never 11 games on the 500. So the Mets had a lot more work to do. But the Nationals and the Diamondbacks had a hot streak as well to get back to 500. So, at some point, that hot streak's going to go bye-bye. It's just a matter of how they maintain it. Do they win 2, lose 3, win 3, lose 2? lose 1, win 2, or whatever combination you want to put. That's the whole idea, right? What you don't want the Mets to happen is to go on an extended losing streak, right? You're going to lose games. Everybody wins 60, loses 60, 99% of the time, right? The other 42 games is what makes the difference between a 500 team or better or a less than 500 team. That's what it is, right? Everybody loses 60 games. Everybody wins 60 games. Most teams do. The bottom of the barrel teams might not. But teams that are, on that level of good or bad or mediocre, as a lot of people like to call it, that's where the Mets are right now. They're usually going to lose 60 and win 60, right? Right now, they have 39 losses, right? They got 21 losses probably still in their schedule at the beginning, right? That's going to be 60. So, and they got 24 until they get the 60 wins. So 24 and 21 is 45 games. 45 games is going to get you to 60 wins and 60 losses in the next 45 games. It's just a matter of how you do them, how you get there. And the other 42 is where it matters. That combination can be from now until the deadline, right? I only care about up until the deadline. I don't care about August 1st until after the deadline, because that's going to really determine what the Mets are going to do, buyers or sellers. So that's the way we're going to see it. The most we were back even at 11 under was 4.5. Yeah, exactly. That's why what we've been saying the whole time, the Mets were 11 games under 500. If it was a season probably like last year, where the third wild card is probably the only opportunity to win a wild card, it would be very tough for the Mets. But being 11 games back in this National League this year gave them an opportunity a second time around for their homestand. Because when the Mets had a 10-game homestand and had a terrible homestand, we said this is probably do or die for them. And it was at the moment, but because the National League, nobody ran away with the second or third. Actually, the second wild card was a little further away, and they came back down to earth. So the Mets got another opportunity in the next homestand to do some damage. They were 5-1, and it got them right back into the mix. And this 2.5-week stretch got them back into the mix, right? Too bad if the National League is mediocre. I don't care if the Mets make the third wild card as a 500 team. I don't care. You know what I care about? Game 1 of the postseason. That's it. Last time I checked, the last 2 World Series teams from the NL were wild card teams a couple of games over 500. Not 10, not 15, a couple of games over 500. Huge difference. Yeah, and you know what? Look at the American League as well. The American League is not that much better. It's just as bad. So, it's important to realize that just because the Mets might not be a really good team doesn't mean that they're out of it because of the mediocre National League. Because is anybody going to tell me that any teams from the second wild card all the way down to where the Mets are they much better than them? No. Even the Arizona Diamondbacks, who were a World Series team last year, they're not that good. Like, they got hot, and I'm sick and tired of people making teams better than what they are because they went on a month and a half of a run in the playoffs, and now everybody's picking them the following year to make the playoffs and win 95 games. Everybody picked the Arizona Diamondbacks to win a lot of games and make the playoffs easily. Not win the division because you do got the Dodgers in there, but to be better than the Padres, make the playoffs easily. So it's funny to me, but it is what it is. And you take what you have in front of you is a mediocre National League. If there wasn't a mediocre National League, we would be talking about full sub mode over the next 2 months and not really worry about what's going on in the games because it's irrelevant. So be grateful that the National League is mediocre and kept the Mets in it so they can have another run like this over the last 2.5 week stretch to give you baseball to watch that's meaningful. Because tomorrow is the biggest game of the year for the New York Mets. Why is that, Rob? Well, look at the standings. The Cubs are right next to the Mets. You win tomorrow, you bounce over the Cubs, and you might bounce over a couple of more teams. That's the point. These games matter. Why? Because tiebreakers matter. If you end up having a couple of 500 teams, the tiebreaker is going to say who's going to make the playoffs. You want to win those tiebreakers. That's why these games are important. And that's what the Mets got to continue to do, right? The Yankees series is an event. It's cool. You want to beat the Yankees? Absolutely. But these National League games right now are so much more important than a lousy 2-game Subway Series that are the stupidest things ever. 2-game series are just a waste of time. We need to have 3-game series because too many times those series split and it's boring. They need to have 3-game series. Could we play 6 times? Have it 3 at home, 3 at Yankee Stadium. It's better. You win series. Somebody's going to win a series. It's more fun that way, but whatever. Yeah, Crowley, I even hate the 2-game series in London. It was cool, but 2 games is just, it's stupid, right? You know, the Mets and Phillies split the London series, and it felt like, okay, that's nice. Like, it didn't feel like it was a cool atmosphere, but it was just like, okay, right? And that's the way the Subway Series is going to go, right? There's a pretty good chance that the Mets and the Yankees are going to split the series. And then you're going to finish the Subway Series coming on Thursday and be like, oh, okay, cool. That's it. You know, usually when you win a series, Yankees or Mets, if the Mets win a series against the Yankees, great. We stop, talking a little bit against Yankee fans and vice versa. Yankee fans do it back to us if they win the series, right? It's more fun that way, right? It doesn't put any more emphasis on it. It's just it's like a blip in the schedule. Like, oh, it's like a speed bump. Oop. That's basically what it is. So, yeah, I don't understand why they're doing that. They're doing that a lot with these rivalry games. The New York rivalry, the Subway Series, whatever they call the Dodgers and Angels series. The Orioles and Nationals. The Cubs and the White Sox, stuff like that. But these 2 games, they're so stupid. But it is what it is. What can we do? Bring back more divisional games. I 100% agree. They should have kept it to the 19 games. That was so much more better. Because so many of those games mattered. And you know what? If you had a lot of games left with one of your divisional opponents, and it's a team that's above you, you can get right back into it. You really can't do that with 13 games? It's hard to do that. The Mets got a ton of games against the Braves and the Nationals. So I don't know. I really don't know, guys. But we're gonna call this a quick stream. Look, there ain't a lot to talk about today. The Cubs went out to a 5-0 early lead in the first inning. McGill had absolutely nothing. 3 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Absolutely garbage. The Mets offense really didn't do anything except for Martinez and Alvarez. Everybody else sucked. DJ Stewart and Jeff McNeil basically were hanging out, in downtown Chicago on the north side, hanging out. They weren't really playing baseball today. So there's not really a lot to talk about, except the game sucked, but you have to move on. You got to wipe this off, and you clearly seen the Mets do that in the 9th inning. Like, even Alonso took a fastball right down the middle, right? He looked, oh, okay, right? They were done. After the night, as soon as the 9th inning came, it was over. They were ready to go back to their hotel, have some dinner, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, and it's a new day. That's what they got to do. Listen, tomorrow is the most important game of the series. Severino is on the mound. Your best pitcher in your rotation right now. Win this series, get out of this road trip 4-2, solid road trip. You're still on the hot streak. You lose 2 in a row. Now you're going to have a little bit of questions from the fan base, right? You lose to this team. The Cubs don't look that good. I'm sorry. They don't look that good. They really don't. So come out tomorrow, win the ball game. I don't care how you win it, right? Too many people are concerned about how you win. I don't care. If it's 1-0, I'll give you a golf clap, but I'll be happy it's a 4-2 road trip. That's it. And Blackiana, yes, I agree. I've seen enough of McGill too, right? But tomorrow you got Severino. They got to do the job. He's got to do the job tomorrow, right? He's got to be that dominant guy that we've seen this season. He's got to be lights out, right? I don't think the Cubs are a very good team. Severino should mow these guys down. They have a ton of strikeouts. They're a strikeout team, right? They just hit McGill today. McGill didn't have nothing. He couldn't get his breaking ball over at all. So what's left? The fastball. And he had to throw the fastball over the plate because that was the only thing that was working. And they clobbered it. So, all right, guys. So thank you, Hayden. I appreciate that. So, again, guys, tomorrow we're going to have a pre and post game for the rubber match of the Cubs-Mets series. And there probably won't be a roundtable tomorrow night, but it's probably going to be Monday night on the off day. So we'll keep you posted on that. Make sure you check out my community page and my X account, TMWRNYN. TMWRNYM is my X account, and follow the Mets Roundtable podcast on X at Mets RT Pod on X, and follow them. We'll keep you updated on when the show's going to be. Because the Mets play a night game tomorrow, because ESPN likes to destroy everything. Instead of a day game, it's a night game, so it's hard to do a roundtable when we don't really know what time the game's going to end. So, and a lot of people schedule in. It's not cool. I want everybody there. I don't want 2 or 3. It's, I'd rather have all 4 of us there. It's a lot more dynamic. It's a lot more fun. So most likely it's going to be Monday night. So we'll keep you posted on all of our accounts. So with that said, guys, Mets lose 8-1 to the Cubs. Back to 3 games under 500, 36-39. Tomorrow, game 76 of the season with Luis Severino on the mound. So once again, appreciate everybody tuning into another Mets post-game show right here on the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for a pre and post game for the rubber game tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. Let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time, guys. Have a great night.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife.